Hey, this is Nick Green here, Hollywood on Trail. Today we're going to be talking about hostels on the Appalachian Trail. What is hostel life? How do you get sucked into it? What to expect from them? What do you want from them? And everything in between. Stay tuned to find out. Everybody wants something different from a hostel. Some people want just a respite from the trail, a place to kick their boots off and just relax for a little bit. Other people want the communal aspect. Here's what I wanted from a hostel. I wanted to do my laundry / clean my gear, really scrub things out a little bit, make sure my pots and pans are clean and my water bottles clean, that sort of stuff. And obviously my clothing. B, I wanted to clean myself. I wanted a really nice shower. I would typically go about 10 days or so in between showering in hostels and that sort of thing. So by the time I reached one, I was pungent. Let's just call it that. C, I wanted a resupply. Some hostels don't have a resupply on site, but they're located next to a convenience store or grocery store, or they have a van and will shuttle you to one for all your purchasing needs. So some sort of access to a resupply was important. D, I wanted to hang out with other hikers. Hostel life is really cool, actually. It's a chance to experience the trail a bit off the trail. You can share stories with hikers and you can get to know people and their experiences. Sometimes if you're going northbound and someone else is coming southbound, they can tell you what to expect and you can tell them what to expect. Ultimately, it's just a chance to sit around and convene with people that are doing the same thing you are. It's hard to tell people who aren't doing a through hike what you're experiencing. They're interested and you might be interested to tell them, but to really convey the nitty-gritty about what a through hike is like is very difficult. So to sit across from somebody actually experiencing it while you are alongside you, there's true value in that. And lastly, it's a place to give your body a rest. You are beating the hell out of your body on a through hike. Resting is extremely important and it's something you don't get to do too often during a through hike. So taking a day, maybe two at a hostel to just relax and not do anything. Let those feet heal, let those legs heal, let your mind heal. That was really important to me. The Appalachian Trail specifically is a unique hike in terms of the hostel experience. It's so communal and it really represents such a big part of the trail. I personally loved sleeping out in the woods. I wanted to maximize my time out in the woods as much as possible. So I didn't really go into town and stay at too many hostels. That's not to say I didn't appreciate them. I loved my experiences at the hostels. I stayed at a handful and each one of them had something different to bring. Whether the caretakers or hostel owners or shuttle drivers there themselves were fantastic, and they pretty much all were, or the special hikers that I met, they had something to offer as well, and hopefully I had something to offer them. Or it was just a chance to reflect on what it is you're actually doing. I remember being down south in Virginia at a hostel called Weary Feet, and the property was on this beautiful acreage where you can just look out over the river. And one morning we woke up and it was so misty and beautiful and the clouds were just rising up over the landscape, and it was a chance for me to reflect on this unbelievable journey in a serene setting where I wasn't go, go, go. It was something I recognized in the moment and cherish today. There are hundreds of hostels on trail. Some close down every year and new ones open every year, and they all offer something a little bit different. The Trek.co just put out a really awesome article highlighting all of the hostels along the AT. There's like 120 of them that they highlighted or something like that. So you can go on there, and it's a simple Google search to find that. You can go on there and figure out, oh, these are all the hostels, here's where they are, separated by state, and get a better understanding of how many there are and where they are. I never typically sought out going to specific hostels. Some people do. They do their research and they know, I want to go here, 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 and here. For me, it was just when did I happen to need a resupply? When did I need a break? When did I need to shower? Hey, look, I'm actually running into a hostel right now on trail. Or some hikers I was with said, you know what, this place is pretty cool. You want to go in town with me? And I thought, yeah, cool, why not? Just kind of flow where the wind blows you. But there was always a memorable experience to go along with it. Some hostels are located pretty much right on trail. You're on trail and it's like a .2 Blue Blaze or something to get to those hostels. Other hostels are located pretty far off trail, so you have to hitch into town or organize a shuttle, things like that. I typically stayed away from those hostels if I could avoid it, just because I didn't do that much coordinating. So you might get to a road where it's a cell phone dead zone and you have no way of getting to a hostel unless you want to walk 4 miles, which you clearly do not want to do, and it wasn't that convenient to me. So I typically stayed at hostels that were either pretty much on trail, something like a Rattle River hostel up in New Hampshire, where it's just you walk right into it, or Boots Off down south, where it's kind of just right there for you. Those were always really convenient to me. When you get to a hostel, you can expect a couple of things. One, you can typically expect that there'll be a shower there for you and they will have loaner clothes for you. These are always really snazzy outfits from like 1982 that you get to wear, typically with bright colors and something that looks like it was on Saved by the Bell or something like that. But it's really fun. You get to wear these loaner clothing that are clean. They wash them all, of course. So you get to shower and do your laundry and not have to worry about walking around in your skivvies. Most of them have some sort of food there for you, whether it's somebody on site cooking food that you can pay for, or there's restaurants right nearby, or a total resupply that you can do. They typically have some sort of food option for you. They also offer typically a couple of different options. One is you can stay in a bunkhouse. This is like a dorm style thing. It's typically a cheaper option. You're with some other hikers and you get to experience that. Another is a private room setup where it's a little bit more expensive, not exorbitant usually, and you get to be in your own room. And lastly, there is a tenting option where they have tents set up, and that is your cheapest option. And you can just set up your tent, use all the facilities, take a shower, do your laundry, do your resupply, all that stuff, but you don't sleep in a bed at night, you sleep in your tent. So if you want to save a little bit of money, that could be a good option for you. All of those options can run anywhere between $10 for your tenting option to like $50 or $60 sometimes for your private room option. Usually it was about $20 to $30 a night to sleep in the dorms. Again, this all depends on the hostel and what they're offering. Sometimes they do like a package deal. We'll do your bed, we'll do a meal for you, a run into town, a shuttle back to trail, pick you up from trail, that sort of thing. And it's like a combined option, and they'll do that for $40 or something like that. But when you look at your guidebooks, either as Gut Hook, which is far out now, or your AWOL guide, which I like to use a lot, they will have on there how much these hostels cost. So it's never really a surprise when you get there. Another option is that they sometimes do donation-based hosteling. And from my understanding, this might need to be corrected, but from my understanding, it's from people who aren't officially hostels, so they aren't registered in certain regards, so they can't actually legally charge you, but they still have all of their setup readily available for you, and then you pay a donation to them, a suggested donation, which I did stay at one or two of those, and I thought it was fine. It was just fine. Everybody was nice. There might be some commentary about whether this is the right thing to do, ethical or not. I'm not sure, but I had a good experience, and I always threw them whatever I was going to pay elsewhere, I would give them as well. The caretakers who run the hostel owners, are usually wonderful people. They're typically people who have either hiked the trail or lived around the trail, or are older and have finished their career, have retired, and thought, you know what, this is something that's worthwhile to be around all these energetic individuals accomplishing a lofty goal. I want to help them do that, and I really appreciate that lifestyle. So they're always people. They're usually people that are very kind-hearted and are doing things for the right reasons. Clearly, this isn't always the case. So if you get somewhere and you get a bad vibe, if you don't like the crew that's around there, there's no shame in saying, you know what, this isn't for me, and moving on. I never had that experience though. Everywhere I went, I thought was lovely. The mansion right by the AT Museum, about halfway through where you do your half-gallon ice cream challenge. That was a really fun experience. I almost flew right by it after I did the ice cream challenge, but my buddy I was traveling with, his name's Kazoo, he was like, "You're crazy if you want to keep going. We have to stay here." So we stayed. It ended up being one of the most memorable nights on trail. It was just one of those experiences that for whatever reason, my big bubble that was hiking right alongside me happened to be there that night, unplanned, and we had an awesome barbecue and we played music. We got a tour of the basement where they used to run the Underground Railroad through. It was a really memorable experience, and it was all because we decided, hey, let's just stop walking. And sometimes that's the good choice. Other times, just keep on going, and you can't regret that either. But pay attention to the signs. When it's right to stop, you'll know. Don't be afraid to make that decision. You will not regret it. Shaw's was the last hostel I stayed at, way up north before getting to Katahdin. And it was a really nice reconvening of all the hikers that I'd known all along the way. It was kind of like our last respite before our final push into Katahdin. I remember sitting around the campfire, everybody's playing music, singing, drinking, having a grand old time. And it was truly a culmination experience that, yes, you get in the woods clearly, but it was something just a little bit special about all being there, knowing that we've all been through the trenches together and kind of raising our glasses to one more final push. The hostel vortex. This is something that's quite common with a lot of people. I'm happy to say I never got sucked into the hostel vortex. This is when you show up and you say, all right, I'm going to stay one day at this hostel and just recharge, do all the things I need to do. And then one day turns into 2 days. And then you think, well, if I just stay one more day, I can wait for the group of people that are coming right behind me that I kind of leapfrogged, and I want to see them. So 2 turns into 3, turns into 4, and then you're like, well, why not make it 5 days? Because there's a party on Friday that the hostel throws, and that'll be really fun. I don't want to miss that. And then 5 days turns into 6, and then you just keep going and going, and you never get to Maine. So the hostel vortex is real. People do fall into that trap. Some people, I suppose, like it, and they don't think it's a trap at all. Personally, I always thought I'm there for a specific reason, and that's to get to Maine. The hostels are a big part of it, and I truly enjoy it, but I don't want to get sucked into a vortex, so it wasn't really hard to wake up and leave when at the designated time that I set for myself. But I do know that people fall into that trap a lot. There's another thing called work for stay, where you can show up, and if there's some work to be done, fixing things, if you have a skill and you know how to fix something, or painting things or cleaning, you can stay there for free with the return of doing work. So I never did this. I figured I'm not staying here long enough to want to do work. The whole point of the hostel for me was to just relax and not do work, which I was doing on trail when I was walking. But I know a lot of people do utilize this, especially if they want to stay for an extended period of time. They can strike a deal with the hostel owners and work for stay. Hostel owners, hostel workers work really hard. They're there to help us. They are not making tons of money, I don't think, on their services. It's really just part of the culture as well. So treat them with respect, treat their property with respect, and I can almost guarantee that you will get that respect in return. If you have any questions at all about hostel life, please reach out, leave a comment, let us know what your favorite hostel was on your through hike, or let us know what you're looking forward to on your through hike in terms of hosteling. Maybe there's a specific one that you're excited to visit. In any case, no matter where you go, where you lay your head, just remember, if you can't carry it in your pack or in your soul, you don't need it.